Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming back to Christy's Creative Crew. This is my blog spot that you can hop over to each and every day for inspiration. And this is my hostess code for September of 2019. I would be so honored if you would hop over there, check out all the links that I have for you, and place your order online. This will help me to earn that last minute trip to Maui, one that I've been dreaming of, one that I've never won a trip for Stampin' Up, but not the big trip anyways. They used to do small trips, like a weekend trip. I did win that one time way back, well, the last time that they offered it. So that's when I won that. So, or I didn't win it, I earned it. Believe me, you work really hard for this. So that's just all the business. But I want to remind you, don't forget about the Designer Series paper sale that's going on. When you buy 3, you get 1 free. Now there's a limited number of what is on the list, so please hop over again to my blog spot. Everything you need to know will be there. And I will also list all the products that I'm using on today's card. So let's get started with today's card. It's this one here using the Good Morning Magnolia. And then this is the surprise pop-up. I love it. This is a card technique that I learned many years ago when I went to a card club, and I am featuring it in my September card club class. And so the ladies enjoyed that this past week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the inside. I'm going to first start with the pop-up part. What you're going to need is a piece of copy paper, just from your computer printer. This measures 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. You can do the same technique with any size as long as it is square. So it's just a simple learning of how to do the fold. But for the A2 card, which is the 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, that's called an A2 card. This is the perfect size for what will fit inside. We're going to be using our Good Morning Magnolia stamp set. It's so big that it comes in 2 different cases. And did you know, oh, I should show you this. Did you know that we have another stamp set? It coordinates with the Good Morning Magnolia, but it's a little smaller. It's got some added wording. I love the font. So like here we've got Thinking of You, Happy Birthday, Thank You. And in the original one, in the Good Morning Magnolia, it says thanks, and in the Magnolia Blooms it says thank you, which I really like thank you better, but we're going to use the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set today. And we're going to start with our large flower image. And I'm going to add some Memento ink to that. And we're going to stamp that up here in the left-hand corner. You need to do your stamping before you do your folding. Okay, that's great. And now the words on the bottom. So what I have here is it says thanks inside, not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. I'm going to pull in a piece of scrap paper and make sure that my stamp is stamping clean, and it didn't stamp clean on that special. So let's check that out. Okay. And we're going to place that. Ooh, let's move this up a little bit. There we go. That's great. Cover up my ink. And now we're going to do some coloring. I didn't want to use our Stampin' Blends. We will be using the Stampin' Blends on the outside of our card, like this here. I'll show you this again. There, this is what I did on the inside. So I'm going to pull out my Petal Pink ink pad and a sponge dauber. These are great. I love how they fit on my finger like that. It makes for really easy. I label each one using my little label maker, and then I have a case that I keep them all in. All right, testing. And I'm just going to lightly color this in. With a sponge dauber. Simple like that. I am going to pull out my So Saffron Dark blend and just do the center. That part will not be seen once it's folded and adhered to your card. Now I'm going to pull out my Mossy Meadow ink pad and sponge dauber. I have it labeled with Mossy Meadow. Get out my scrap paper. I don't want it to be too dark. This almost looks chalky to me, so I kind of like this look. There we go. Quick and easy, simple. Close up my inks so they don't dry out. And then I am going to bring in my dark crumb cake blend. I'm going to use this small tip, and I'm just going to color in my branch there. Okay, so now comes the time when you have to pay attention to the folding. Now, it's not hard, but it is a process that you have to learn. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our square piece of paper that measures 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and we're going to fold it corner to corner. Now I'm going to unfold it, and then I'm going to take the opposite corner and fold it corner to corner. There we go. Okay, so we have an X. See that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the sides. Can you see what I'm doing? Yep, I got it in the camera. That's great. I'm going to bring that in. I got to make sure my point is there, my center point. Let me fix that a minute. And now we're going to lay this down like that. There, totally in camera, I'm shocked. There, so now we have like that. Looks like a tent, I guess. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, this is the center. We're gonna take these tips down here, we're gonna fold it in and fold it in like that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do that on this side as well. Fold it in, and I'm going to fold this one in so that your tip goes up to the fold line. Okay, so now what you've got is, I'm going to get out my bone folder, and I'm going to just crease all those folds like that. See, now we have like a house. Now what we're going to do, we're going to pull out each of these corners, and we're going to invert it like that. Did you catch that? Well, we've got 4 corners, so we're going to do it again. Pull out one of your corners, open it up like this, fold it and invert it like that. Corner number 3, fold it in, invert those folds, fold them really good. It's easy because you don't ever want to use anything heavier than the copy paper. Otherwise, you would not get the folds the way you want. It would not turn out the way you want them to turn out. Okay, so now that I've done all of that, I still have the same shape of a house. Pretty cool, huh? All right, now we're gonna take our card base. I used basic black. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, and then I scored it at 4 1/4. So that gives me my card base, basic black. I'm gonna open it up, and I wanna make sure I get it in correctly. So this is the side that has my words on it. I can kind of see right through there. I'm gonna grab my snail. I want to make sure I get all my edges really well. So I want this to stick down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball the center of my card up to the fold. You don't want to go over the fold. You want to be able to shut your card like that, okay? So now we're going to do more snail on all the sides. And then just simply fold your card. Now when you open it, there you've got your fun fold. Now on this card here, you can see that I have some little divots, a little fancier maybe. And I'm going to show you what I did with that is when my card, excuse me, I'm just going to pull in the other one that I had prepared for you. You're going to take the corners. Let's see, I got to make sure I'm doing this right. All right. Yep, that's exactly what I thought. So you're going to take these corners here, and this is our triple layer punch, I'll look it up for you. And I used the corner rounder side. Normally I have these all labeled with a little label from my label maker. Because this is the thin copy paper, I can fit all these layers through. There we go. That one has a little glitch in it, but I will just come and round it out a little bit like that. See, so then that's what happens when you use the corner rounder. Now this one I won't be using. This one I'm going to keep as a pattern. I have some notebooks that I keep different folds and ideas in, and that will go in there. So that will be my template or my pattern for that. So now let's pull out our card again. I'll set it right up there. I know I'm covering up my information, but you can get it if you rewind, or I will be, I'm sure, moving it again. We're gonna go with our 5 1/4 by 4 inch Whisper White. And what I went ahead and done is I stamped my Good Morning Magnolia on here like that. And now I am going to, let me just double check. Alrighty. This is from the Magnolia Lane designer paper. And I'm going to attach a piece right there. Oh. And I love this paper. Very, very versatile. Okay, so now we have that. What I'm going to do before we go any farther is I'm going to pull out my layering squares dies. Now you know they come in squares and scalloped squares, all as one. This has 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So this has 9 dies, and this one has 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this one has 10. Scallop has 10 pieces, and these have 9 pieces. Yep. So we're going to use number 9. It's the largest one of the squares. And I'm going to center that in like that. See, so the leaves are showing on the outside. Now I'm just going to pull in my Big Shot. And cut that out. Once again, I'm using my self-healing mat. And what that does, it has saved on the life of my cutting plates. Stampin' Up! Is coming up with a new embossing and cutting machine, die, whatever. And I'm sure it'll be fabulous, but it is not out yet. So I am stretching my clear plates as long as I can. Set that aside. So now this is what we have right here. And I'm going to go ahead. I know you really probably don't want to see me color, but I'm going to start with my Petal Pink Dark. And I'm sure everybody does it just a little bit different. Some people start with the light and add the dark. I tend to start with the dark and add the light, and then sometimes I go back and add some dark with it. With the stamps, they kind of give you the areas that you're gonna use. Now you want to be sure that when you're using these markers, you use the sides as much as possible, because these tips are pretty fragile and they can get kind of wanky after a while. And now I'm just coming in with my Petal Pink Light. I'm going over all of that, using the side of the tip, coloring that all in. There. Now if I want, and I think I will, draw out some of that dark again. So really it is totally personal preference if you want to just do it, the light first and add the dark. Maybe I just like to color and I don't mind doing the extra step. There we go. That's such a pretty flower. I'm using the So Saffron Dark for the center. I am using the Crumb Cake Dark for the stem. And now we're going to pull in our Mossy Meadow. So why don't I try it the opposite way, what I normally would do. And I'll start with the light. And we'll do our leaves. Let's see here. I wish I could fast forward this so you wouldn't have to watch me color, but it really does go quickly. And I am using, as much as possible, the side of my marker to preserve it. Now that's pretty as it is, but if we go in, we add just a little more of the dark Mossy Meadow, it makes it stand out even more. Kind of using the lines that the stamp already provides. There we go. Maybe some on the edge. Like I said before, I am not a perfectionist by any stretch of the imagination, but I do want it to look nice. And I do sell some of my cards. There are some local stores that have asked if I would bring cards in. And I know that even some of the girls on my team have some cards where they sell in beauty shops and antique malls and stuff like that. So that's really cool. I'm so thankful for my team. I had just forgotten part of my leaf, and I think I forgot one down here too. I'll grab that a minute. And then we'll be done with our coloring. There we go. So you can see on the sample card that I left this back part without coloring. I did not color it. Now, if you want to color that, you go ahead and color that in. But I did not. So I'm going to take this piece here, and I have my subtle embossing folder. This is seriously one of my favorite ones. It just lends so much texture. Can you just see that texture on there? So much better than having just flat. So I'm going to place that in my embossing folder. And I'm just going to turn around. That's where my, whoops, that's where my Big Shot station is. And I will emboss that. Sorry for all the noise. Okay, so here we go. So it's your personal preference. You could have added this little strip of designer paper after you embossed it, but I kind of like the look of having it all embossed. It gives it that flowing feeling. We're just going to add that with some snail. All four sides. And we're going to attach that to the front of our card. Whoops, backwards. Now this was die number 9, and there is not another square larger than that. So we cut out a piece of black, basic black, that measures 3 by 3. And I'm going to go ahead and attach that with snail. Like that. It gives it just that real small edge right there. I am going to pull out my dimensionals and add one to each corner. That way we can pop this up and make it stand out. Now I want to make sure my flower is going in the right direction. And then I'm just going to place that on there like that. Nice. I'm going to bring in some pearls. And on a previous video, I couldn't locate my Take-A-Pick tool, and all I had to do was turn the camera off, and I was able to find it right away. It was right under my nose. So we'll use our Take-A-Pick tool. I'm going to show that to you a little bit, but this is I bet you can't even see what I'm doing. This pointer here, just slide it right under your pearls, rhinestones, sequins, and it takes up the little adhesive that comes with it as well. And that way you can place it on your card. There's a little locking mechanism. You unlock it, pull it out, and if you don't prefer the pointer, they have more of a spatula that you can use and slide your pearl under and pick it up like that. All right, now we got to get that back on there. On this side of your Take-A-Pick tool, you have a little tacky glue that here, it's not a glue, it's just a kind of like, I want to say silly putty, but it's really not like that either. But it's so that when you're picking items up, say it's there's a pearl that had no adhesive on, I was able to pick that up. Of course it didn't stick, but Oh, there's adhesive on it, that's why. Like if you're picking up loose sequins or something like that, then you can pick it up. It's really, really handy. I didn't make it look easy, but it really is. So that's your take a pick tool. I'll set that aside. And then I need a piece of Whisper White. Let's see, I don't think I cut that out. Let me see what that is 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4. Let me cut that quick a minute. 2 1/4 by 3/4. Now we did hear that our new cutting trimmer is coming out by the end of the year. I'm pretty excited about that. I have yet to see it. I'm not privileged to that, but I know it will be great because Stampin' Up! Has high quality standards and they're not gonna give us something that's inferior. Okay, I'm gonna pull out my scrap paper a minute here and test out my stamp. That looks like it's stamping nice and clean. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Now, what I did, oh, probably can't find it now. I had made a thank you. Oh, here it is. I had made a thank you and then I cut it out with the rectangles, the stitched rectangles. But when I put that on there, it just seemed too big. So I decided to cut it down to 3/4 of an inch. And I thought 2 1/4 worked perfectly fine. And I'll pop that up using a dimensional, 2 dimensionals. I'm gonna put it on this side. You don't want to have too much bulk when it hits here. Otherwise, if I put a dimensional there, it would stick up goofy. So we're only going to do that. And now, if you want to, you can take a glue dot and your take a pick tool. I'm going to put that back to my pointer and pick up a glue dot. So this is personal preference. If you want to tuck that under there. That way sometimes when you're sliding it in your envelope, it won't get hooked. It'll stay nice. But isn't that pretty? Now I think the only thing that would make this even prettier is just a little shimmer. This is my Champagne Shimmer Mist. And I mix it with rubbing alcohol, at least 70%. And I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to hold it at arm's length and give it a few spritz. And then that gives it, oh, the camera just is never going to show how pretty that is with some shimmer to it. But I just love it. I use it on a lot of cards. I'm sure you've already noticed that. But wasn't that fun? It really wasn't that difficult. It might be something that you might need to watch a few times to get your fold down. But once you've got it down, you can whip out a ton of these. In fact, when I had my card club, I had them do one. I wanted them to do the fold themselves. But then I also did ones that they could take home and use as their pattern, like I showed you on this one here that I'm going to put with my card folds in my 3-ring binder. So that'll be a good reminder. And then I put the link of the video so that I can go back to my video and watch it again to see how I did that. So do you like it? Do you love it? I love it. I think it's gorgeous. So thank you for coming again today. Thanks, not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. And thank you so much for placing an online order. Thank you for partnering with me so that I can earn the trip to Maui. There are incentives on my blog for anyone who helps me out. If I reach my goal, there are incentives for that. So take care. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.